Hi, I'm Selena Campbell, a frequent host of the podcast This is Fertility for Progeny, a leading fertility benefits management company. When it's time to enter the world of fertility treatment, then it's time to pick a fertility doctor. This is an important step as this doctor and the entire care team will be the people you spend a lot of time with in the next weeks and months as you continue your family building journey. Changing doctors mid-treatment can cost you both time and money, so it's very important that you take some time early on to evaluate your doctor and the staff at the clinic. So the question is, what should you be looking for when evaluating a fertility doctor? And that's what we're here to cover today. And we're going to do it with the help of an expert, Dr. Peter Uselak, a reproductive endocrinologist with Marin Fertility Center. Before we dive in, I just ask that you subscribe and like the video, because doing that helps others to find it. All right, let's start with the basics. The first thing you need to know when choosing a doctor is about their broad qualifications.
You should know a little bit about background about your fertility doctor. You want to make sure that your fertility doctor is indeed a reproductive endocrinologist. That's the official term for what we do. And that's a person who has been through subspecialty training. So they've gone through an OB/GYN residency, and then after that, a further 3 years of training in what's called a fellowship. And then after that, most of us elect to become board certified, which is to go through another step of a written examination, oral examination, and also bring in a research component into that. So that's pretty important that your doctor has those qualifications and actually took that time and that attention and made it an important part of what they're doing to become board certified.
Depending on the treatment path you go with, it's very possible that you'll be spending a lot of time with this clinic. And it's important to know that clinic operations can be different clinic by clinic. At some practices, you'll be working with one physician for all of your treatment procedures, while other practices take a team approach where they have a variety of doctors available to work with you throughout the process. Truthfully, there is no right or wrong here. It's about personal preferences, but it's a good idea for you to make note of your preference and then to figure out how the clinic in question operates.
On a practical level, it's nice to know about your fertility doctor, kind of what their involvement is on a daily basis. Of course, going through fertility treatments, you go to your doctor many times, and usually perform ultrasounds, get blood work, things like this, and it's nice to know that who you'll be seeing. It's nice to know who you'll be seeing, if it's the same person every time or not, especially for the bigger treatments like egg retrieval, embryo transfer, things like that. It's nice to know if the person that you're sitting down with on your initial consultation will be the person that'll be actually doing these procedures for you.
So you want to evaluate the doctor, their credentials, and their personality, while also figuring out the operating style at the clinic at large. If these things fit your preferred style, you may have a match. Note, we didn't talk about success rates in this part of the evaluation of a doctor or clinic, and that's because success rates can get very tricky. Statistics can be manipulated based on various things. Some clinics only see patients who are likely to succeed, while others see more challenging cases, and that might reduce their numbers, which would truly be misleading. That being said, reproductive endocrinologists are required to report their statistical data to the CDC, and many of the top clinics are members of SART, the Society for Assisted Reproductive Technology. It's a great idea to check out SART website and utilize their Find a Clinic tool, as all SART fertility clinics are held to a high standard. Another option is to go to progeny.com/findaprovider, where you can search for clinics that are in the Progeny network. We vet all our clinics and only work with the finest providers, so if they're on the list, you know you're in good hands. Now let's jump ahead a little. Let's say you've been working with a clinic, perhaps even for a while, but for whatever reason, you want a second opinion. We asked Dr. Uselak when he tends to think a second opinion is appropriate.
It's always appropriate to consider it. I think that, especially in the light of a failure, let's say, if you've had a treatment failure, it's good to kind of regroup and consider that. I think if this kind of gets into selecting your fertility doctor too, if your fertility doctor has a specialty, like a special approach or special interest, for example, we talked a little bit earlier about immature eggs, things like this. That if your exact treatment failure is related to that, that's when you could go seek someone who had a special interest in that. So the more complicated your case becomes, I think the more you can entertain that. I mean, we have a very, very focused and specialized field, and I don't think everybody should run out and necessarily get multiple opinions. I think most of us that are board certified have ample qualifications to take care of most of the common fertility diagnoses 90% of the time. But of course, if you find yourself in a more complicated situation, then you might want to seek out someone who has more of a special interest in that, may have gone a little bit deeper into that study.
Don't forget that at the end of the day, this is your treatment. Doctors are there to help and support you, but you need to feel that you're being guided appropriately. The choices you have available to you need to be communicated clearly, and when choices are made, you need to be able to feel like you are confident in these choices.
You know, my overall message with picking your fertility doctor is just make sure it's a good match, right? So on a personality level, if you will. And I think all those other things will fall into place. So if you feel like you're moving the pin forward always, and we're going through a logical, series of discussions and decision making, and we're moving it forward, then I think it's okay to keep going. But if you think you're hitting a wall, you need to talk to your physician about that. Like I think we've hit a wall here, and if you're not getting a satisfactory answer, yeah, sure, you can maybe choose to move on. But I think the point is that when you feel like you're not moving forward, that you're doing the same old thing, is maybe the time to entertain that.
Picking a doctor can be daunting. But if you keep these factors that we discussed today in mind, and you find that person and that staff that you really connect with, then you're probably making the right decision. And again, a great place to start is on the SART website or at progeny.com/findaprovider. If you want to dive a bit deeper into all things fertility and fertility health, you can find articles and other materials at progeny.com/education. And if you want to hear some more stories from others who have been through a fertility journey, you can find those stories on our podcast, This is Infertility. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.